Hi class, it's time for me to introduce your rough draft because we are almost done with the semester and you should be at a point where you can start drafting your final paper. Yeah! So here we go. To receive full credit for your rough draft, you should submit a working title. Hopefully you have one. A working thesis statement. You'll be working on that this week. A works cited page, which you should have done if you did your bibliography, and then anything else you have done, an outline, a handwritten free write, a looping activity, doodles, whatever, something. I even had a student for that fourth piece once write help, and then we got together and we worked on it together. So to get full credit, that's the four things we need to do. That said, if you get a full and complete draft written, you get better feedback from me and you'll just be closer to getting done. So, keep that in mind as an option. But because I'm realistic, please do your best to at least turn in those four things: a title, a works cited, a thesis, which you'll be working on this week, and anything else. If you look at the way that the grading guide is divvied up, the bulk of the points go to your thesis statement, 3 out of the 6, and that is because that's kind of like the main thing we're working on in class this week, is using thesis statements and 3x to fill in your paper. So I'm going to go ahead and review the expectations for that final research paper. In a nutshell, this is what we need. A thesis statement that answers the question, what does it mean to be a blank? The blank being some piece of your identity. Your paper should be 6 to 8 pages in length. You should incorporate 5 sources. Use quote sandwiches for source material, all that stuff from the Incorporating Sources lecture. Include a works cited page. Refer to personal experience. Explode a moment for me. And also, I would love it if you have experienced growth through this process somehow, and that it's visible in your writing. Again, this thesis statement requirement, that might scare you. That's coming up this week, so if you're anxious about that, you can just jump onto, I think it might be Tuesday in the pacing schedule, and start looking at that material. A reminder about your research. This is the main concern here, is that I want to see you use sources well and correctly. So what does that mean? Use your sources well. What is that? So first way to do that is to incorporate sources using those quote sandwich that I've already talked about a lot. That's really the number one easiest way to use your sources well. It makes your writing more mature. It contextualizes all the quotes you're using. It puts your writing into a conversation with other writers. Another piece of this use your sources well is to tag your quotes and paraphrases correctly, using the commas after the tag, the period inside the quotation marks, unless you have a parenthetical citation, in which case the period goes outside the quotation marks. But using the correct punctuation for your quotes and paraphrases is the next piece. Another thing is, go ahead and use a lot of tags for your quotes, paraphrase, and summaries. I would say any time you have a sentence that refers to something written by one of the authors, mention their name, at least in a parenthetical citation, if not in a fully tagged in-text citation like these. The next piece of this is that you need to make sure the reader can find your sources on the works cited page using your in-text citation. So Linda Berry invites writers to silence the 2 questions, blah, blah, blah. Let's say in your citation you had not put her name here. Your reader would be going, okay, well, this is by Berry. That's the last name. I'm going to go look for the last name. What if you had cited it and not put her name and started with what it is? Well, we don't even know where what it is here. So basically, think of this relationship between the source in the text and how your readers will get to the information in the back. So make sure that be in Barry and the is present so that we can go back to your Works Cited and see them. Another piece of this is to include a correctly formatted and easy to use Works Cited page. Make it so that it's readable for your reader. The next piece, your sources shouldn't overpower your own voice. You're the soloist and your sources are your backup singers. Don't let them take over your paper, because I don't really want to read your sources. I want to hear you. And your sources are there to provide support and, some nice harmonies. So to review, when I say use your sources well, we're talking about quote sandwiches, correctly formatted introductory tags, using lots of introductory tags, making sure your readers can find your sources on your Works Cited page, and formatting your Works Cited page as correctly as possible. This week we're doing the thesis statements, 3X development, and figuring out how to use all those pieces to put everything together. This is my schedule for in-class, in-person classes, but it's similar to what you guys are doing online too. So everything this week is about putting those pieces and those blocks together to make sense of how that final paper is going to come together. And that's it. So happy drafting, and as always, let me know if you have any questions.